1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Tuesday, July 15th. We have our city council meeting beginning at 5 o'clock. I'll call the meeting to order. And Madam Clerk, can you do the roll call?
Councilmember Bausch.
Here.
Councilmember Veal. Here. Councilmember Gregory.
Here.
Councilmember Strong.
Here.
Mayor Hammond.
Here. We have tonight on closed session, we have one item, and I'll let that be discussed by our legal counsel, Elizabeth Hall.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We are going into closed session on one item. It is conference with legal counsel regarding existing litigation. It is pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D1. The name of the case is the Tribune versus the City of Paso Robles and Chris Bausch. It is also Chris Bausch versus the City of Paso Robles as a cross complaint, and then the City of Paso Robles versus Chris Bausch individually, also as a cross complaint.
Okay, thank you. And we'll open up public comment on this item. Anyone wishing to say anything? And we see none in the room. Do we have anyone online?
No, sir.
Okay, we'll go ahead then adjourn to closed session and reconvene at 6 p.m. for the regular open session. Good evening, everyone. Paso Robles City Council meeting for Tuesday, July 15th. We will go ahead and convene this open session. We are coming out of closed session. We'll begin with pledge of allegiance and then an invocation by Steve Jaworski. Please stand.
Join with me, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Steve?
Good evening, and thank you once again for inviting Atheists United back to give this invocation. My name is Stephen Jaworski. I'm a resident of Paso Robles, and I'm on the board of directors of Atheists United in San Luis Obispo. I want to take a moment to recognize what we're creating by being here as Paso Robles residents and city council members. This is where concerned citizens bring their troubling situations, their passionate causes, all the things that affect them personally. They bring these concerns to this civic process, a process that's defined by a system of laws, rational laws based on evidence and experience. And there is a shared intention of everyone in this room to come together and trust in a rational process of governance. That shared intention creates something greater than the individual grievances or the individual causes, the impassioned initiatives that are here. The whole is greater than the sum of the parts, the phrase that we attribute to Aristotle. And that principle is at work here. Tonight, you have one another to thank. By having the courage and having enough respect for one another that you can bring your concerns to this forum and together embrace rationality and become part of something greater. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll continue with roll call. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Councilmember Bausch.
Here.
Councilmember Beal. Here. Councilmember Gregory.
Here.
Councilmember Strong.
Here.
Mayor Hammond.
Here. And we'll begin also then with staff introductions on my right.
Melissa Boyer, City Clerk, joined by Mary Sponholz, Deputy City Clerk, and Karen Jackson, IT Technician.
Warren Frace, Community Development Director.
Ron Cornell, Administrative Services Director. Fire Chief.
Richard Winkleman, Senior Citizens Advisory Committee.
Welcome. I see Sharon Woden back there on our planning commission too. Chris, are you? Yeah. Oh, Ashley, you still have more? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you are, Ashley. Anyone?
Chris Hewitt, City Manager.
Elizabeth Hull, City Attorney.
Very good. Welcome, Al. Thank you. We'll begin then with item L, presentations. We have Colleen Barhargis, our CEO for the Mid-State Fair, and give us a presentation on what's happening.
What's happening?
Oh, that's true. Sorry. Yeah, it's not on here. The report from closed session. It was.
Oh,
I was just
Thanks,
checking.
Elizabeth.
I thought you
Yeah.
skipped me.
Yeah. Hang on, Colleen.
Just 1 second. The council went into closed session regarding conference with legal counsel on existing litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D1. The name of the case is the Tribune versus City of Paso Robles and Chris Bausch. Chris Bausch versus the City of Paso Robles as a cross complaint, and the City of Paso Robles versus Chris Bausch as a cross complaint. There was no reportable action.
Very good, thank you. Now, Colleen, you're on.
Hi. Oh, I sat down, and that's not a good thing the day before fair. Not only that, I didn't bring my speech. I left it on my desk. So you can imagine things are happening down there. We're super excited to bring this year's fair. So the 2025 California Mid-State Fair, our theme is Off to the Races, and we are off to the races. It's coming. We're ready. A little bit about myself for those council members that don't know. For those that have heard all my speeches, I apologize. But I am Colleen Bojorquez, CEO of the California Mid-State Fair. I'm a fourth-generation native to our area, and my family still own and operate a cattle ranch located up Hog Canyon. I'm married to a 12th-generation California native, Tim Bojorquez. We have 2 children, Bailey, who's going to be a junior at Mission College Prep, and Curran Bojorquez, who graduated from AMDA in New York City and is currently on a Disney cruise as a performer. I graduated from Cal Poly and received my bachelor's in ecology and systematic biology, and I have my master's in education. But I have been working at the California Mid-State Fair since 1992, so not that long ago. I was picking up the phone, selling tickets, having a good time, and then I've just kind of worked my way through, done all the interim, done paperwork, done accounting, and then the opportunity came for me to be interim CEO and then CEO, and here we are today at fair number 79. But it is just tomorrow. The California Mid-State Fair is tomorrow. We have our opening. We have our opening ceremony. We're super excited. We host around 375 to 400,000 people a year. Fairs around the state have been down in attendance, but you know, we ride the wave because it's all cyclical. So we're hoping for a great fair. We're hoping to bring the 400,000 people, but we're happy with anybody and everybody who comes, and we'll put on just as good a fair no matter what. As I said, this year's theme is Off to the Races, a nod to the vast history between fairs and horse racing. So bring your derby hats. We have opening ceremonies tomorrow. Come at 3:30. We open the gates. The first 100 people get popcorn and a pin, and you just come, and it's like Disneyland. You have a rope drop, you stand there, you wait, and then once the rope drops at 4 o'clock, you can ride carnival rides for free. The fair offers that. We try and make it affordable for everyone. So we had discount admission tickets up until today. So sorry, there's no more discount admission tickets, but we do have season passes. So if you plan on coming more than 5 days, a season pass is the way to go. But free carnival rides tomorrow will help, and then that just makes it a little bit easier for our families to come. We also have Miss California Mid-State Fair pageant tomorrow at 6 o'clock. It's on the Frontier stage. We have Seniors Day, which is the first Friday, July 18th, 62 and over get half off admission. So that's only $7.50. The next Friday, which is the Friday, July 25th, we have Kids Day, which ages 12 and under get in free. And on Saturday, July 26th is Armed Forces Day, when there's free admission with a valid military ID. If you can't, let's see, Slow Cattlemen's and Farmers Day is Thursday, July 17th. That's this Thursday. And Cattlemen, Cattlewomen, and Agriculturalist of the Year will be announced all over an amazing barbecue dinner. And that has sold out, I think 2 weeks ago, which is the first time ever in 2 weeks. We'll host over 800 4-H and FFA exhibitors. These are kids who have worked all year, or some of them all year, with their heifers and their lambs and their hogs, and they're coming, bringing them, seeing who will be range champion, and then they'll have our junior livestock auction and hopefully sell it. And they're learning very valuable lessons. Lots of people think it's just about having an animal and selling it, but really it's about the responsibility of having to feed it, water it twice a day at least, work with your animal because it can't be wild. If it's wild, we won't accept you. And it's about finances where you learn, okay, I spent this much on the animal. I've paid this much to have it housed wherever it's housed. I paid this much for feed. And I need to make this much to even break even, but if I want an animal next year, I need this. So it's about going and out to your community, trying to get buyers, trying to show people all the stuff you did. So it's a really incredible program. We love hosting our kids. It's just a really fun energy down there. They have a lot of fun together. I know I did when I was there, and I never won anything. And I just had fun. You can also come for industrial arts auction where our local high schoolers come and they have, crafted these incredible projects. If you've driven by the fair this year, they're huge this year. We have 2 cattle ramps. We have a playhouse that's 8 feet on a stump, 8 feet, and then it has another 6 feet on top of that. They're just these beautiful projects along with some small fire pits and things like that. That's Thursday, preview at 11, auction at noon. And then we have for our little kids, we have Kids Day on the Farm, which is an area where you can go with your littles and pick lemons and plant Brussels sprouts and milk a cow and learn all the different fun facts about agriculture, including how, that a strawberry is the only fruit that has its seeds on the outside, and all of those fun little facts that little kids love, and hopefully we can groom them to be the agriculturalists that we need in the future. But I do want to brag, we also have food. That's really fun. So we have corn dogs, funnel dogs, a French fry waffle burger, which has buns and fries, pepper jack pickle bite, which I am going to try, and then Dubai strawberries, which if anybody's gone to a fair recently, it's chocolate with strawberries and like this pistachio sauce and then more chocolate and more strawberries, and it's amazing. But it looks like the weather's going to be good, which I just knocking on wood because it looks like it's going to be incredible. But I do also want to say about our little fair, and because our staff is really who puts on the fair. Like I'm able to come here and talk before you, and it's the night before fair. Our staff is working so hard to make sure that this is the quality that we want to present for Paso Robles, for San Luis Obispo County, for our agriculture. And I hope that you guys can find it to come down, support it, walk around, learn something. We have incredible entertainment. Of course, we're known for our entertainment. We bring in the big names. We have Flo Rida, John Party, 311, Cody Johnson, Kay Berdita, Red Clay Strays, who's after that? David Lee Roth, Big Lee Zimmerman, Keith Urban, Don Felder, Country Rodeo Finals, which are our local people that honestly are some of the best in the nation. And we have our monster trucks. That provides us an opportunity to bring people from out of the area so that we can showcase what we do in our area. And that is really important to us to make sure that people know we have this local economy that's booming. We're trying to help it boom. We're trying to give it a little lift. And so we hope you can come out and support it. And just to show that we still have the title, we were nominated I have to have the numbers here. We were nominated back in March for the American Country Music Awards for the fair/rodeo of the year. And although we didn't win, it is a huge honor to be on this list because the Cheyenne Frontier Days in Cheyenne, Wyoming won, and they have 550,000 visitors a year. The Calgary Stampede was nominated. In Alberta, Canada, they have 1.4 million visitors a year. Minnesota State Fair in Falcon Heights, Minnesota has 1.9 million visitors per year. Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo in Houston has 2.5 million visitors a year. And we were on the list, the California Mid-State Fair, Paso Robles, for 375,000. So that's a pretty big accolade. Really proud of that because it just shows that we really are the biggest little fair anywhere. So, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Colleen. Appreciate it. Back to work. Okay. Get her done. Next, we have some presentations. If I can get Linda Prescia and James Taylor, come on up. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, this is cool. All right, so we have a proclamation today for the Parks Make Life Better Month, July 2025. Whereas Parks and Recreation Services promote health and wellness, improving the physical and mental health through organized and self-directed fitness, play, and activity. And whereas Parks and Recreation creates memorable experiences through sports and enrichment activities, senior programs, teen centers, aquatics programs, youth and adult fitness, enrichment classes, and free community events. And whereas the Parks and Recreation sustains and stewards our natural resources by protecting habitats and open space, connecting people to nature, and promoting the ecological function of our parklands. Whereas Park and Recreational supports safe, vibrant, attractive communities that make life better through positive alternatives offered in their recreational opportunities. And whereas the California Parks and Recreation Society has released a statewide public awareness campaign, Parks Make Life Better, to inform citizens of many benefits and utilizing parks, facilities, programs, and services. Now, therefore, let it be resolved that I, John R. Hammond, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor and speaking on behalf of the entire City Council, do hereby proclaim the month of July 2025 as Parks Makes Better Life Month for Paso Robles. Linda, would you like to say something?
Oh, I'd love to.
You bet.
I got the mic. Thank you so much for this recognition from California Parks and Recreation Society. I'm so thrilled to see all of our park staff here this evening, many of our recreation staff. We have advisory members from the Senior Advisory Committee and the Parks and Rec Advisory Committee. We have Rec Foundation representation, additional members of our Community Services department team. Ashley Hernandez as well as Melissa Bailey are here tonight. So thank you all for recognizing that parks make life better. And having said that, I want you to know I'm lobbying California Parks and Recreation Society to add recreation to that fabulous title. Because I like to say parks and recreation make life better. We improve quality of life for people in the community by activating the spaces that James' crew beautifies and maintains. And with that, I'll give it over to James.
So Linda said everything I wanted to say. No, but really, it's this is the 40th year that July has been marked as Parks and Recreation Month. And really, for me, it's I just wanted to take the moment to thank my staff, because without my staff, I can't make the parks beautiful without them. So honestly, it's a privilege to work with this crew, Parks and Trails, as well as Rec. In the last couple of years, we've come a long ways in developing relationships and excellent work habits together. So with that said, thank you, and thank you to the Parks and Rec staff.
So we're going to do that right now?
Yeah, let's do it right.
So we do have another little special recognition for a couple of our staff, and I'll read out the certificate of recognition.
Maybe we should call these two
Yeah,
gentlemen
if you don't,
forward.
if they're not already up here, Francisco Vasquez
Oh.
and Manuel Ibero. So they had a special event that we're going to recognize here. In recognition of your swift and courageous response on June 5th, 2025, when a fire broke out near the northwest corner of Sherwood Park, Your decisive actions in deploying a fire extinguisher and coordinating with the construction team and exhausting the fire with a water truck prevented that could become a more serious threat to the public safety and property. Your commitment to the Paso Robles community and your willingness to go above and beyond your call of duty is truly commendable. Rather than stepping back and waiting for emergency services that eventually came, I'm sure, Jonathan, you chose to act, demonstrating responsibility, teamwork, and care for your community that you serve. Your actions reflect the highest standards of public service and serve as an outstanding example of your dedication and integrity. We have a couple certificates for you, Walt. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Taylor is your crew. You want to say something or say anything further?
Nothing but the best. Thank you, guys.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a comment on that presentation.
Yeah, since you're there, go ahead, Dale.
Okay, a long time ago, I attended a state parks and recreational seminar at Hearst Castle, and it was magnificent. But one thing I learned was the cities and communities that have an active parks and recreational program have the least amount of juvenile delinquency problems. And Paso Robles exemplifies that.
Thank you, Dale. Next on our presentations, we have CalEd Award of Merit for Economic Development Strategy Plan, and we have Paul Sloan to give that to us, along with a special guest.
Good evening, Mayor Hammond, members of council. Just a quick word of introduction on this. The council approved the 5-year economic development strategic plan just about a year ago, and it's the first economic strategic plan that the city has done since 2006, so it was very well needed. And it was a big project, a lot of outreach with lots of stakeholder input from all different sectors of our economy. We took all that input, distilled it down to 5 key initiatives and 75 specific action items to be implemented over these 5 years. And we submitted it to CalEd, which is the California Association of Local Economic Development, for their review. And we have been, for that plan, awarded an award of merit. And here to present that to the city is Michelle Stevens.
Michelle, welcome. Good to see you again.
Thank you for the introduction, Paul. And also thank you to the council for having me here today. It's always nice to recognize our CalEd members in their home communities, because normally these awards are given out at our annual conference, and so they're amongst their peers of economic developers. But it's important for the council members and the community members who are listening at home to hear that their public servants are really doing a good job and representing them well. So Paul already said a little bit, he stole everything I had to say, but a little bit about CalEd. CalEd stands for the California Association for Local Economic Development. We are a membership association for local economic developers throughout the state. We've been around since 1980, so we're the ripe old age of 45 this year. We have over 1,000 members throughout the state, whether they're at cities, counties, private sector, nonprofits. The one thing that they all have in common is that they're focused on economic development and helping communities that they work with do better and provide opportunity for their residents. So with all of that experience in those 45 years, we have used that authority to identify examples of excellence in economic development. And so the award that the City of Paso Robles won is in the category of programs and promotions. And on May 8th at our annual conference, the City of Paso Robles was awarded an award of merit for their economic development strategic plan. And I think Paul sped through a few of these, but I'm going to repeat a little description of what that plan was, because unless you were part of the public process, which maybe some of you were, you probably don't dig into these things as much as maybe you want to. So the Paso Robles Economic Development Strategic Plan, EDSP, is a 5-year roadmap designed to foster economic diversity, support local businesses, and enhance community vitality. Guided by City Council policy directives, the plan prioritizes business-friendly initiatives, workforce expansion, and infrastructure investment. It aligns strategic partnerships and best practices to promote sustainable growth while maintaining Paso Robles' unique character. The EDSP provides a framework for implementation, ensuring measurable objectives, stakeholder collaboration, and continuous adaptation to evolving economic conditions, reinforcing Paso Robles as a thriving destination for businesses, residents, and visitors. We, on behalf of CalEd, would like to say congratulations to Paul and all of the city staff, council members, and community members who came together to create this plan.
All right.
And with that, I have an award.
Okay.
To give you. I don't know if you guys want to do a photo op. I'll try to keep my fingers off it so I don't. Yeah, thank you.
A long trip all the way down there. Yeah, we thank CalEd for meeting with us up there. We went up a couple months ago and met with them and a bunch of other folks, but great partnership. Again, we appreciate your opportunity to help with us and anything we're doing and making the trip down here too to Sacramento. Stay here at Paso Robles, of course. Thank you, Michelle. Okay, next we have homeless update. Ashley, you're on deck.
Hello, everyone. Good evening, Mayor Hammond, council members, and city leadership. I want to start by thanking you for the opportunity to be here and your continued commitment to addressing homelessness in Paso Robles. Over the past few months, I've had the chance to meet with an incredible range of people in our community: case managers, affordable housing, healthcare providers, business owners, first responders, county and state partners, and those with lived experience, including many who are in the room today. The conversations were honest and inspiring. Their insights are helping shape the work I'm sharing tonight and remind me daily of the heart our community has. Tonight's update is focused on how Paso Robles is implementing a strategic, balanced approach, one that reflects our values of responsibility, outcomes, and compassion. Let's begin with our Paso Robles strategic plan to address homelessness. The city's plan was adopted by the City Council in 2024. The plan was developed over 8 months with direct input from 38 cross-sector partners. The plan serves as both a short-term and long-term roadmap and is structured around 6 core focus areas: programs and services, behavioral health, education, training, and outreach, the housing continuum, funding and resources, and policies and procedures. Before diving into implementation, it's important to understand the broader policy and funding environment that we are working within. Locally, the slow county budget deficit has led to the closure of Paso Robles Sexual and Reproductive Health Clinic. And at the state level, thousands of Medi-Cal recipients are at risk of losing coverage. That's significant, as 1 in 4 residents in our county rely on SunCal Health. All of this makes one thing very clear: we cannot afford to work alone. The stronger and more connected our local systems are, the better that we can respond. As the Homeless Services Manager, my first 90 days have been about building trust. I've met with 70 stakeholders across 30 organizations, and my approach has been simple: listen first. I did not come with all the answers. I came in wanting to understand what's already working, where are the gaps, and how can the Homeless Services Division show up better, smarter, and with purpose. Out of this, I have done a landscape assessment to help map services, partnerships, and now I'm lining it with our 6 focus areas of our strategic plan. Now let's start with programs and services. If you are not familiar, that wall is the famous wall in Echo's Paso Robles homeless shelter. All of those handprints represent people who have achieved the 90-day program and have been housed. So under the Homeless Service Division, we are centralizing coordination with the North County Stakeholder Group launching this fall to develop shared priorities and implementation strategies. This group will be for people in the homelessness and affordable housing field that want to work closer together. We've strengthened our partnership with ECHO and will soon finalize an MOU amendment that includes tracking quality improvement measures and neighborhood impacts. Access to behavioral health remains a priority. We're partnering closely with the County Behavioral Health to improve access to mental health and substance use services. It's important to note that the County Health Department on 4th Street offers a range of supportive services, including walk-in and alcohol counseling, outpatient programs, mental health services, and court-mandated treatments for individuals experiencing substance use disorder and mental health challenges. Additionally, the Community Action Team, a partnership through Paso Robles Police Department and Behavioral Health, have been strengthened with an addition of a third CAT officer helping respond to homeless-related calls. Next, we're focusing on education, outreach, and training to ensure the community understands both the challenges and the response. We've heard clearly from those in the system, coordinated entry is very confusing. So in response, we're co-creating a resource guide with ECHO, the county, and people who have experienced homelessness to help demystify services. This will be a part of a larger public-facing presentation to help residents, business owners, and providers engage with homelessness in a more informed and compassionate way. The housing continuum is also a major lever in reducing and preventing homelessness as we work across city departments with partners like Paso Robles Housing Authority and People Self-Help to move projects forward. The Multifamily Accelerator Program is supporting and identifying sites, funding, development, zoning, grant tracking, and applications. I have personally heard from throughout the community of hundreds of seniors from our community who have been housed at the Riverwalk Terrace and Paso Robles families living in the Sunrise Villas. These projects are so high need that the current waiting list are anywhere from 600 to 1,400 families per site, which is just a powerful example of how our city is responding to such a big need. I also have a picture there of the computer stations at Sunrise Villas that kids are able to do their homework on. I was able to see the login list of all the kids who are working on their studies. And just and finally, we're building clear, consistent frameworks to guide our work. An interdepartmental work group is in place to improve coordination and alignment. We're also partnering with the county's Homeless Management Information System team to develop data reports starting fall of 2025. And just last month, I was honored to host a national roundtable at the Conference on Ending Homelessness in Washington, D.C., where I was able to learn about best practices from peer cities to help refine Paso's evolving strategy. So even in our early months, we're making significant strides. The city now has representation in regional homelessness forums, ensuring Paso Robles has a seat at the table. Policy tracking is actively shaping decisions on the ground. Interdepartmental collaboration is increasing. A trash mitigation grant has been submitted to the county to increase cleanup efforts across the city. Shopping cart recovery strategies are in motion, and we're continuously identifying grants and resources to fuel this work. All of this adds up to a more responsive and accountable system. So looking ahead, I am excited to start forming the North County Stakeholder Group this fall. The next quarterly update on homelessness to City Council will come in November of 2025. And the next point in time count, which is a countywide effort to measure homelessness on a single night, will take place in January 2026. We'll be recruiting volunteers and sharing more details soon. But before I close, I wanted to share a moment that reminded me of why this work really matters. A few weeks ago, I joined a community outreach effort with volunteers who dedicate their weekends to doing outreach to our unhoused neighbors. And while we were standing there, a woman approached us and she said, "I just wanted to say thank you. I have a job now helping others. My husband is finishing his trade license. We're living in an apartment with our kids, and I'm finally seeing my doctor again." And then she said to the outreach worker, "You've always believed in me. And even when I didn't believe in myself, I knew that I had you here." And as she walked away, I turned to the outreach worker and I was like, wow. And he looked at me and he said, Ashley, it's not my job to decide what someone does with their life. My job is to sow seeds and to see what happens. And that moment stuck with me. And because people in Paso are good, I know that when we work together with purpose, we can be powerful. So I included a quote of our late Mayor Martin that sits outside our city park bench, because this is the spirit that I hope we carry forward in this work. Thank you for your time, your leadership, and your participation. I will stick around in case there are any questions.
Thank you, Ashley. Questions of Ashley Hernandez? Chris
No
Beal.
questions, but just some congratulations. You're relatively new. I know what a big task this is to walk into the city and to take over this role. And I can confirm that I see Ashley at lots of meetings. And to come in here so new and to offer this presentation about where we are with the strategic plan and kind of the connections that you've made in terms of coordinating North County Task Force, your next steps in terms of fall. I'm just so impressed, and I think it really demonstrates the importance of having coordination, really a dedicated staff person that can address these issues. So welcome and great job.
Thank you.
I'll second everything she said.
Okay. I will say also, again, the city is very fortunate to have you on board. And I know you're still getting in the saddle, but what I've seen so far, you're really turning the work, and it's impressive. We appreciate you being there. Steve,
and I'd like to say, I love the statement by Steve Martin, and he loves having you here.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. That concludes our presentations.
Mayor Hammond, I have
Yes.
a caller who wanted to comment on this.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
It's Linda George.
Linda, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, this is Linda George, and my concern has and always will be at this point with the homeless situation is that ECHO, and I thank you, Ashley, for your presentation. I enjoyed it. I think that ECHO not totally serving the clientele that's in the riverbed. That was one of the complaints during my campaign that they had, which is they feel like they're second-class citizens to the people who actually get into ECHO. So I would love to see that addressed if possible, or if that's a consideration in the plan.
Very good. Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you. All right, then we'll go ahead and close the presentations portion and move on to general public comment. This is the time that the public may address the City Council on items within its purview, but not scheduled on tonight's agenda. Council or staff may briefly respond to statements or questions posed by the public. Please fill out a speaker card and give it to our city clerk when you come up to speak. You'll have 3 minutes, and those people wishing to speak on any item that is scheduled on tonight's agenda will be given the opportunity to do so at the time the item is being considered. So Dale, looks like you're up first.
Yeah, Dale Guston, Paso Robles. I'm very proud to be a citizen of Paso Robles, and I got to say, even though I was a volunteer on 4th of July, that whole day was, and especially the fireworks, the best fireworks presentation I've ever seen in person. And they had nice music with it and everything. And I was so pleased that the city, people in the city and businesses stepped up along with the city to make it happen. And I thank all of you.
Thank you. Dana, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. I hope you will indulge me. I was not quick enough to get up here during the presentations. I'm here on behalf of Rec Foundation to offer up acknowledgement and great appreciation and support for the work of our Parks and Recreation Services units. If you're not familiar with Rec Foundation, we have been in existence for over 25 years, actually, and we are in place to help enhance the parks and recreation services and facilities here, and by not supplanting anything, but actually helping to enhance. You may be familiar with our concerts in the park that we do in collaboration with downtown Main Street, as well as with our Parks and Recreation unit. That funding that is generated through Concerts in the Park goes towards the scholarship program that we are able to extend for folks here in the city who may not be able to afford all of the services that are available. So that scholarship is something that Rec Foundation is extremely proud of generating and helping folks be able to access our parks and public spaces and programs in a manner appropriate for a community of Paso Robles size. I want to just add a couple of notes of where you have seen Rec Foundation in its effectiveness. You may have noticed recently the scoreboards out at Barney Schwartz Park, as well as the field numbering at Barney Schwartz Park. Now people know how to get to which numbered park they need to get to. You may have, hopefully, you've been on a bike and you've been enjoying the pump track out at Barney Schwartz Park. And all of those who are experiencing the activities over at the youth center, we've been supportive of that and helping to generate some revenue. Our role is to leverage the funding that the city puts forward under its general fund budget for our parks and recreation services. And I just want to reiterate just how important it is for our parks and recreation facilities to be operational, to be high quality, and to offer an experience worthy of those who live here in the city. So we appreciate the investment that you make in the facilities, and we appreciate the opportunity to leverage that funding with what we can generate to help enhance those services. On a very personal note, I believe towards the end of this meeting, you might be acknowledging a recreation services person I had the privilege of working with many, many, many years ago, as did my brothers, as did my brother's friends and family. Gary Peruzzi was a significant part of the growth of recreation here in Paso Robles, a person of great integrity and great creativity, and certainly someone that we are going to miss, but I wanted to acknowledge the role that he played in helping to get Rec Foundation up and going and supporting, and the role he played for so many of us here as kids growing up, being able to access the services and programs that he operated. Thank you.
Thank you, Dana. Tony, welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. Thank you for letting me speak. My name is Tony Gaspar, 2200 Country View Lane, and I just want to say that that I went to this year's 4th of July celebration, and wow, it was unbelievable. It was absolutely spectacular in every way, in complete execution, from the parking to the volunteer interactions to everything. It was really quite an event, and I know that it takes tremendous leadership from the council and from city staff to make an event like that happen. And I just want to tell you, as a citizen of Paso Robles for 31 years, I truly appreciate it. And I think that I speak on behalf of the thousands of people that were there, that it was an amazing event. The games for the kids, the food, it was just on. And the music with the fireworks was spectacular. To top off the evening, the fact that you allowed RV parking at no charge up on the hill to be utilized was really quite a gesture, and I think it was very charming. It was something that really helps maintain the charm of this town, that we did not, as a city, monetize that simple little gesture of allowing some RVs to park on top. For those of you that have RVs and you did not park on top, I would highly recommend it, because we sat up there and had cocktails while 2 hours worth of traffic drove away. So you missed out. So from as a father of two and now a grandparent, I can assure you that my kids and my grandkids will be coming back, and look forward to many, many more years of just an incredibly executed and well put on 4th of July. So thank you. Mr. Mayor and council members, thank you, city leadership, and certainly to all of the volunteers and some staff members behind me. I want to say thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Tony. Just as a segue, Frida Berman, please stand. Come on up here a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, we were talking about this for a while. Every year, we challenge Frida Berman to do something more and better, and she's hitting it out of the park, home runs all the time. So she is the director of our public works, and you were in charge, the point of the spear, so to speak, with all your staff and everybody that put this on. And again, what Tony just said, we echo it. It's just amazing what you did. Again, appreciate all the service you did to the public, and all your staff need to be commended as well. So again, thank you very much for.
I very much appreciate that, but I have to thank the 40-plus staff that worked the event and worked from before 7 a.m., didn't get home till 2 a.m. to make sure this event happened in the right way and safely, and everyone had a great time. It was a great team to work with. We also we exceeded our sponsorship goal, and the community really stepped up to make sure we had the event that we had, but I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Frida. Welcome.
Hello, council people, community. I'm here, my name is Gloria Fama. I'm here speaking for myself. I want to give a shout out, kudos to the emergency response and fire department and everybody that has to do with the CERT training. I know there's CERT training, that means community emergency response training, right guys? So based on everything that's going on in the United States today with floods and fires and hurricanes are still yet to come, it's normal for all communities to have adult training, but I had the honor of helping to teach the teenagers this last week and had so much fun doing it. My background is trauma surgery. So it was so much fun. Kudos to the fire people that does this. And if I can say anything, if you know a teenager, I think they should be given extra training or something to participate. That would be a great thing, and I'm going to suggest that to the school board. But if you know of a teenager, talk to them and see about it. This is something that everybody in the community should learn, but even teens can be helpful. So that's why.
Thank you for your service. Appreciate that very much for doing this. Welcome.
Hello, good evening, honorable members of the Paso Robles Series Council. My name is Silvano, and it's a pleasure to be here with you tonight. I serve as the Associate Program Director with a nonprofit organization called Mixteco Indigenous Community Organizing Project, MICAP, dedicated to serving indigenous communities, farm workers, and immigrants' families seeking better opportunities. I always begin by acknowledging that we are on indigenous lands, and I'm deeply grateful to live and work in this community. MICA operates across 3 counties, Ventura County, Santa Barbara, and here San Luis Obispo County, and providing programs and advocacy to uplift and empower the communities that we serve. If you have any question how to better support indigenous communities, as we know, immigrant communities, Mixteco communities are a part of communities, economic, and we are here as resources, and would like to be honored to collaborate and with you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you this evening.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Welcome.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, distinguished council members, city manager, and staff. My name is Jay Pete. I was born here in Paso. I think I was actually born in Mr. Hammond's media room.
No.
Back when it was the hospital of Paso Robles. I'm here today to request that staff get a cannabis regulation and rezoning of 1124 Black Oak on the agenda. Back in September, Councilmember Strong had made the request. The staff had commented that they had received direction from the council to get it on the agenda in August. I had the great fortune of meeting with Chris and Warren. Chris had made mention of getting it on the agenda here for July, and yet it has not made the agenda. So I really request that we get this thing on, that we can talk about. The owners of 1124 Black Oak have run a reputable licensed business for a decade, and they are being economically harmed by the inability to move forward with their business. The county is encroaching on the revenue that is leaving Paso to as close to you as Tin City. There's a cannabis retail shop that's opened, and they're going to be taking dollars that could be and should be coming to Paso Robles. Cannabis has a well-known and proven history now of clinical benefits. So having a medical retail shop in Paso would only benefit your citizens. Not having one is actually harming your citizens. If you have someone that is suffering from or getting cancer treatment, and chemo has been cannabis has been a well-known tool to help alleviate some of those discomforts, a variety of it. I think I've emailed the staff a whole list of benefits that have been proven through research and study. And if they don't have a retail shop to go to that's safe, they're finding someone on the streets to buy cannabis from that is got pesticides, herbicides, insecticides, mold, fentanyl. When I met with the sheriff's department, they're finding fentanyl in every pound of cannabis that they confiscate that hasn't run through a regulatory system. The cannabis sold at retail shops that are licensed by the state of California and granted by the city's good grace is regulated by the state and is guaranteed not to have any of these harmful side effects that our kids, our adults in need are going to be subject to. We are not asking for a green zone, just a variance overlay on a property so that they can get a retail business that'll help protect your citizens, put an extra $1 million a year in the hoppers. That's what San Luis is generating from the single stop shop, retail shop they have, $1 million. What could the city of Paso do with that $1 million? Police force, real cameras on Black Oak, not dummies that are just there to dissuade, but real cameras, fixing potholes in streets. I think it's almost a fiscal irresponsibility to allow those taxes to leave. So I urge the council and staff to get the rezoning of that property on the agenda as soon as possible. Thank you.
Jacob, I just let you know, I think we are actually calendared for the second meeting in August to hear that item. Chris, do you want to add?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. As I provided an update earlier this week, we have been working on this item. It has lagged a bit, and I do recognize that. I do anticipate now to have it on your August 19th agenda. It will be a discussion of cannabis regulations as they exist in the city, and that is per a previous request of the council to bring that topic back. So that will appear on August 19th.
Very good. We'll see you then.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you. Anyone in the public wishing to speak further?
I do have a caller.
Okay, we got one more comment. Welcome, sir.
Hi there. My name's Joe Farley, and I live on Fallbrook Court in Paso Robles. The cul-de-sac currently impacted by the ongoing sewer project managed by Whitaker Construction. I'm here on behalf of most of the residents in the neighborhood who have patiently endured months of noise, disruption, and dust, now expect fair treatment and complete restoration. We understand and support the need for infrastructure improvements. From the beginning, we have cooperated and remained patient, even as the project originally scheduled to finish by May 25th continues well into July 15th with no clear end in sight. Fallbrook Court's geography, a cul-de-sac forming a natural bowl, has made the situation worse. Dust and debris settle heavily on our homes, windows, outdoor spaces, solar panels, requiring constant cleaning and reducing the quality of life. The area has felt like a permanent construction zone for months. We're extremely concerned about the state of our roads and sidewalks. The trench created for the sewer line has been temporarily patched, but we've been informed that only the narrow section will be resurfaced, not the entire street. Even though heavy trucks, equipment have used the full width of the road daily throughout the project. As a result, not only is the pavement scarred and weakened beyond the trench line, but the sidewalks have also been damaged in multiple areas. Leaving us with mismatched pavement, broken sidewalks is not an acceptable outcome. At the very least, the entire road should be repaved and the sidewalks properly repaired to restore our neighborhood to its original condition, if not better. We also call for expedited completion of the golf course easement, which remains unfinished. This path is used not just for Fallbrook residents. It also serves as a critical safe passage for local deer and wildlife, which have been displaced by the construction. We are respectfully requesting a clear and updated timeline for the total project completion, dust mitigation efforts immediately, especially given our cul-de-sac layout, expedited completion of the golf course easement for both residents and wildlife, a full road resurfacing, not just a trench repair, and sidewalks where needed, fair compensation for relief for residents via utility credits, tax consideration, or other restitution. The residents of Fallbrook Court have been more than patient throughout this project. Now we expect the city to meet us with respect, transparency, and meaningful action that fully restores our neighborhood and honors the inconvenience we've endured. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. I'll have, if you can, check in with our city manager's office, and they can probably give you an update. Chris, can you?
Just as I gotta give a shout out to Dante. He does come out. I meet with him every Wednesday morning, and he gives me the best information he has. But he's not intentionally giving me bad information. It's just what's presented to him. So we're not making any progress. We thought we would be done with this, and we're not there yet.
Thank you for bringing your concerns to the council.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Francisco? Okay.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. How are you guys?
Great.
Francisco Ramirez. I can't say enough about our 4th of July celebration, and everybody was super excited. And the comments that I've heard throughout our community, how special they said they felt safe going there, and it was tremendously well organized, getting there, being there, and then getting out. I heard several comments that I want you guys to know, and thank you to the staff for all you did, and also Parks and Recs, way to go. That's tremendous. But also, I want to piggyback on Silvano, right here, right behind me, who presented himself with Mixteco Indigenous program. He undersold himself, all right? They are a nonprofit organization to help our local Indigenous, non-English, non-Spanish speaking people, immigrants, by giving them information, by helping them fill out applications, by giving them information of what's needed throughout our county and our services. They started the organization down south, Ventura County, Santa Barbara County, and now it is an honor that they have the first and only office of MICOP in San Luis Obispo County, right here in Paso Robles on Spring Street. So I'd like to invite you guys to come on down, check them out, and I would also like to invite our police department, fire department, if they can come in and show them and maybe make an appointment to see if we can do any teachings or service-related services to them, and they can have the translators there, the providers for our Indigenous speaking people. Thank you.
Francisco, what's the cross street on Spring Street? Where is their office located?
I believe it's, is it 15th?
1502 Spring Street.
1502 Spring Street is the address, 15th and Spring.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, do we have someone online still?
Yes, we have Linda George.
Okay. Linda, can you hear us? Go ahead.
Yes. Yeah. Hi, Linda George, 3126 Spring Street. I wanted to echo Mr. Gaspar and Francisco. I had a great time volunteering again for the 4th of July event. it was it's almost like it's become an old hat to the staff. I think I'm a little jealous that I don't get to ride in the golf carts with Chief Nord and his cool new campaign hat. And I think it's really awesome. I was a little skeptical about when you guys pushed it through with the lack of funding and maybe a little cynical about it, but you guys pulled it off. And I think that's super awesome. And the other thing I wanted to say is thank you to the fire department for helping Templeton during that period. I'm seeing fires everywhere up and down the highway 101 when I drive to the Bay Area almost every week now. So that weed abatement stuff, I hope that helps us this year. And I appreciate what I said in Oakland is that there's no greater love to the police department. There's no greater love than a brother who will lay their life down. And that is exactly what our public safety does. Every time they wake up and go to work, they are running to the danger that we're running from. So I have a high appreciation for public safety, and I want to thank everybody for such a great event and letting me volunteer. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, sir. Michael Rivera.
Okay, Michael, can you hear us? Go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to comment on the potential, or I guess you're going to have it on the agenda. I want to know if the city has considered the cannabis injury litigation that is becoming more of a thing. Cannabis is a very powerful and destructive product. The strength of the THC that people are using now has done a great deal of damage, and especially to young people in high school, junior high, etc. Now, I know the big push is going to be how much money the city can make, but I want to ask how much money the city can make if they get sued for providing this to your community. Now, I don't care what San Luis is doing. I don't care what Templeton's doing. I care what Paso Robles is doing. And if you don't draw a line and say that there has to be a lot of investigation and understanding of what this can do to a community in the long term, the here and now, or the short term potential money that this will bring might end up being a long-term albatross. So I want you to be very careful on how you go forward on this and how you establish any rules should that happen in our community. And putting it by the homeless shelter, that is just insane. I don't know how anybody could possibly think that that's a good idea. But anyway, those are my points. I think it has to be very meticulously addressed, and understand that there's a lot of damage that these products are doing to our young people. And as a matter of fact, to people who use it every day because of the power of these products and what is in them. And although your speaker indicated how it goes through a whole host of evaluation before it gets put into the stores, I would have to say that you better be very careful about how you move forward on this. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Anyone else?
No, sir.
Okay. We'll close the general public comments then and move on to item N, which is any items to be deferred on our current calendar for tonight.
Mayor, I have no items for deferral this evening.
Very good. We'll move on then to the overview of items on the consent calendar. And Chris Huett, you have that for us.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, we have 8 items on your consent calendar this evening. The first is the approval of the minutes from your June 17th, 2025 meeting. The next item is the warrant register. These are the payments made since our last meeting. We've had 4 check runs totaling about $5.4 million. And since it's been nearly 30 days since our last meeting, we do have several transactions that exceed $100,000 or more that I'll cover here. So please bear with me as I run down this list. The first is a payment to Professional Meters, Inc. This is related to our automatic metering project. and that amount is $128,292.71, and that's paid from the water fund. Next item is payment to West Rock General Engineering. This is for the road repair contract for the Maryhill 15th Street Terrace Hill area project. This comes out of the Capital Improvement Fund in the amount of $105,198.49. The next item is a payment to Souza Construction. This is related to soils work at the airport, paid through the airport fund in the amount of $283,658.69. The next item is a payment to Best and Krieger for the March 25 attorney's fees in the amount of $134,042.68. That comes from various funds, including reimbursement from developers. The next payment is to Hartzell General Engineering Contractor. This is for the Sherwood Road Water Main Upgrade Project coming out of the Water Fund in the amount of $245,970.67. Next payment is to J.J. Fisher Construction. This is for the construction contract related to the pickleball courts being constructed at Sherwood Park. This comes out of the Capital Improvement Fund in the amount of $135,391.39. The next item is a pass-through payment to Visit SlowCal. This is for the April 2025 assessment that's placed on hotel night stays. And again, this is a pass-through from the city to Visit SlowCal in the amount of $117,234.30. The next item is a similar item. This is a pass-through assessment paid to Travel Paso for April 2025 in the amount of $155,523.27. Next payment is to Andrew Brown General Engineering. This is for the construction of the Public Safety Training Center facility, paid out of the Capital Improvement Fund in the amount of $315,096.73. Next item is a payment to Pacific Gas and Electric. This is for April 2025 utilities for the water division in the amount of $101,450.12. The next two items are bond repayment items. The first is a payment to U.S. Bank for the 2009 tax allocation bonds. These are associated with the former redevelopment agency, paid out of some other funds in the amount of $638,990.63. Next item is similar payment to USA Bank for the 2000 tax allocation bonds associated with the former redevelopment agency in the amount of $463,487.23. And then finally, a payment to Granite Construction Company. This is for the construction contract related to Phase 1 work on Creston Road, coming from the Capital Improvement Fund in the amount of $289,070.54, with a note there that pavement work is well underway on Creston Road as of this week, so we've hit an exciting milestone for that project. Moving on, item 3 on your consent calendar is the approval of a cost report for cost incurred as it relates to abating nuisance parcels and directing the cost be forwarded to the county for inclusion on the next tax bill. This is related to the parcels within the city that did not comply with the city's weed abatement ordinance, where the city actually had to undertake that work through a contractor. And those dollars, those costs are then recouped through an item that's placed on those properties' property tax bill. So the city will eventually be made whole. Item 4 is the receive and file of the annual fire inspection report, and this is related to some state mandates, and our staff have to go out and inspect certain facilities. I believe we inspected 100% of the facilities we were required to, and so this report transmits that information. Item number 5 is a really fun item. It's the acceptance of a donation of a van from author and Sarah Ludwig. This van, if accepted by the council this evening, would go into service and be utilized for our recreation services team to be able to move forward with our Play on Wheels activities, bringing our rec services out into the community. It was timely as we were looking to try to figure out how to used one van to serve two purposes, and now we have two vans to serve two very distinct purposes for our recreation services team, which is going to make them, I think, a lot more efficient and effective in bringing those services to the community. Next item is the acceptance of improvements as it relates to new improvements at Royal Oak Meadows Park. This park has been refurbished and updated and expanded, and this was done in tandem with some development that's happening out in that area. So we're excited now to reach the finish line of those improvements. So this is accepting those improvements, and we are going to have a ribbon cutting ceremony later this month should those be accepted. Item number 7, this is the approval of an operating memorandum for the Olson South Chandler Ranch Specific Plan Development Agreement. And what this is seeking is a developer request from Trumark Homes to allow all electric subdivision tract improvements in some specific tracts that are planned to be constructed. This would not necessarily create any sort of citywide policy. It would allow for a certain number of tracks in that area to be all electric and essentially not have natural gas infrastructure be delivered to those individual homes. So this item is seeking that concurrence from the council. And then item number 8 is the acceptance of some additional public improvements related to the Olson South Chandler project. This is exciting. This will, if approved, the city will be accepting several street segments, including Sherwood Airport and Lene roads. And if those are accepted, we anticipate those roads to be open this week as early as tomorrow. And I think Sherwood Road in particular is probably the big one that you'll see opening up, and that's the first arterial street I think the city is opened in several years, if not decades. So appreciate the ability to add some detail to these items, and with that, we're happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Chris. Let me go ahead and make the statement that this consent calendar are considered routine and not normally requiring separate discussion. However, if any member of the council or the public has a specific question on an item, we can get those answered before we vote is taken tonight. Secondly, any member of the council or the public that wants to pull for full discussion a particular item will cause that item to be pulled, of course, and then sent to the end of the discussion calendar for tonight. I will also now ask then for the council with any questions or if they wish to pull an item, starting on my left.
I just have a couple of questions.
Okay, Chris,
for fire on P3 and P4. First of all, congratulations, only 16 properties that we needed to clean up out of 335. So that, if I'm understanding that memo.
Yeah, Paul Patty, Fire Marshal for the City of Paso Robles. Yes, we had 11,900 plus properties that we inspected. It came down to 16 in the end. A little bit more than we had hoped for, but we had compliance from basically everybody else in the city.
Right, so 11,000 properties, 330 of that initial list, and then after touching them again, only 16 left. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Huge. In terms of the annual fire inspection reports, can you talk me a little bit through like what's involved with that?
So we have state mandated requirements with the city that we have to mandate to inspect jails, which are high occupancies, and then we have to inspect triplexes and above, not the living portion of them, but the shared portion of those. And we have the schools also, the E occupancies. So we have 100% that we have completed for the second year in a row.
And what kind of things are you inspecting for?
It's fire and life safety items, so it varies for each of the occupancies, but say the schools, we go in, we make sure that the classrooms are safe, that the exiting, that there's not a significant amount of papers or anything attached to the walls, nothing hanging off the sprinklers. We also look for fire extinguishers, make sure that those are serviced properly. We go through a whole checklist that we have. There's about 35 different items that we go for. And we do a similar one to the residences also. Like I said, we can't go into their private areas, but in the common areas. So in the shared laundry room areas or the gyms, parking lots, make sure that the hydrants aren't being blocked, the fire lanes aren't being blocked and such.
And when you say residents, would that be like an apartment, the apartment complexes? Is that what
so if it's a triplex, we don't go into the individual 3 units.
Got it.
But what we do is we go in the exterior, make sure that the fire lanes are not blocked, make sure that there's a fire extinguisher available on the exterior for that complex. And we check to see if there's any other items that kind of catch our eye.
On like the private properties, do you notify them ahead of time? Do you set up appointments or do you just show up?
No, we don't notify ahead of time. It is part of the ordinance that we have and this through the state also is that we're able to go to these facilities and go to the shared areas. It's the common areas that we go to. So if we were to say be asked to do one of the interior of one of the homes, we could do that if somebody liked. We could offer that service to them, but we cannot just go into their private areas that they live in.
No, this is just so helpful. I mean, these inspections, identifying where there are problems, I'm guessing if there's a problem, then they get a little notice and they get an opportunity to remedy that.
Yeah, we work with them. We don't penalize. We work to make sure that we can have a safe environment for them and for the kids that live in those complexes and such. So we do have a fee schedule that would allow us to go down that route, but we never seem to get to that point. We were able to get compliance by showing them what needs to be done and working with the people.
That's great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Councilman Strong? Pro Tem Gregory? Councilman Balch? Okay.
So item 5, I would like to have Linda Plesha come up and tell us what that's all about. We want to know the real story behind all this. That's really nice for the public to hear. So.
Sure. Linda Plesha, Recreation Services Manager. I wasn't quite prepared to speak on this, but I'm happy to. This donation from Arthur and Sarah Ledwick would help us to, oh, wonderful, we have a photo. So it's valued at $73,000. We're really excited about this van. It has a lift, so it would promote it would allow us to roll out our Paso Play on Wheels recreation mobile program that we have included in our strategic plan. This is a program that we started in 2020 when we were delivering services to the community during the COVID shutdown. And since then we have identified, and there's a picture of Arthur back from 1950 when he was playing a trumpet. He was really just has a strong appreciation for his young childhood years here in Paso Robles. He hasn't lived here in many, many years, but he reached out to our community services director, Angelica Fortin, and asked if we had any need or any way that we could use this van. And she was able to share with him our intention to roll out this program. And as Chris shared earlier, we were planning to use one van to support 2 programs. And now we'll be able to have a van for each program and be able to expand our outreach program significantly to provide recreation services throughout the community.
Thank you very much, Linda.
I was going to mention, it'd be appropriate, I think, if we write a thank you note with all the council signing that and send it back to Mr. Ludwig.
Or even have him here as a proclamation to say thank you. That's great. That's a nice, wonderful gift.
Yeah. Don't they live in LA or somewhere south, I think?
They live in Southern California.
Yeah,
they're
in
Southern California.
So I think a letter for sure.
I think that would be wonderful.
Very good. Thank you, Linda.
All right, and then I'd like to have item 7 come back after we review the rest of the consent agenda at the end. So.
Okay, yeah, I was going to pull that as well. So that'll go to the end of, well, we don't have a discussion tonight, but that will be at the end of this. I'll move on then to anyone in the public having any questions on the item or wish to have an item pulled. Anyone online?
Linda George.
Okay, Linda, can you hear us? Go ahead.
Hi, yeah, I have a question for Fire Marshal Patty, not to pull, on number 3. Did I read correctly that the fees are equal to the abatement bill that you gave to these 16 residents? And is there an appeal process if they don't agree? I was just curious about that, if it's appropriate. Thank you.
Yes, Ordinance 1068 NS has an administrative fee that it's associated with when the property is abated. It's 100% recovery of the fee that we pay for and for the administrative fee. And then, I'm sorry, what was the second part of your question, Linda?
Is there an appeals process?
Yes. Okay, I'm
Let's
sorry,
say
yes.
the person was sick and they couldn't attend to it.
So-
and then how do they get to that, if so?
So yes, there is an appeal process. However, this whole process started the 5th of May. Each residence was sent an initial letter and then a secondary letter. And then their property was posted with a sign saying that there was a public hearing. And then there was approximately 9 days after the public hearing before the abatements were completed. However, the ordinance does have there is an appeal process.
Okay, awesome. I just wanted the community to be able to hear that just in case. Okay?
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Anyone else online?
No, sir.
Okay, very good. We'll bring it back to council for direction and or action.
Mayor Hammond, I'd like to recommend approval for items 1 through 6 and 8 on the consent agenda.
Okay, motion by Pro Tem Gregory and second by Councilman Strong. Any discussion? Okay, we'll call for the question.
Councilmember Gregory?
Aye.
Councilmember Strong?
Aye.
Councilmember Bausch?
Aye.
Councilmember Beal?
Aye.
Mayor Hammond?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimous.
Okay, now that we're finished with the consent, we can take item 7, which is the one that I wanted to hear, and same with Councilman Gregory, and then I think Warren Frakes, can you give us that item?
Yeah, quick overview. As the city manager mentioned, this item is an operating memo to the development agreement for the Olson South Chandler specific plan. This is a request from the developer, which is Trumark Homes. They're in the audience tonight to answer some technical questions if there are any. They have purchased from the master developer areas 3, 8, 11, and 12. Those subdivision tracts are now in the process of going through the public improvement plan process. They seek to do all electric houses in this tract, which wouldn't need natural gas. Right now, the tracts are required to install natural gas, even though they wouldn't be plumbed to the house. Trumark Homes has asked if they can not install the natural gas. The development agreement operating memo process provides the city council and the ability to make minor adjustments to the project like this. So this is kind of a clarification about whether the gas is required or an option. This would basically make natural gas installation optional for this developer. So it's their choice. It's not a mandate from the city, but it is something they're requesting. I think they believe there's some benefits to the project by doing it this way. So we have processed this forward. We are recommending approval.
Okay. Questions of staff first? I have a question. Go ahead, Pro Tem Gregory. I'll start with you.
So Warren, I've seen other cities do this in our county. My only concern would be on this is, I guess it's up to the developer to develop the way they like, as far as I'm concerned, because it's property rights. But if somebody ever doesn't like the Alba Electric, they don't have a choice after they accept this change, correct? Unless they want to pay for a gas line from wherever.
Right. This isn't a mandate. This would be developer option, whether they install or not. If there is no natural gas installed, there wouldn't be a way to retrofit the house later, correct?
So is the gas line in the road anyway? That's my question.
So the gas lines are in the backbone roads. So that would be like along Sherwood Road. So there's gas there, and there's gases in like track 4 and 5 are putting natural gas in. But these areas in the orange blocks wouldn't have the request is not to put the natural gas in the local streets in those tracks.
So only as basically a corridor to get to the next track where the gas lines
so all the other white areas would have natural gas installed.
Okay. Thank you.
Councilman Strong?
Yes. Do we see any public benefit to this in that at least there wouldn't be other places where leaks could occur and creating a hazard?
So in terms of the benefit, I think There is some policy discussion that, the city's had in our climate action plan, encouraging the switch from fossil fuels to renewables, which would include electricity. So I think that's one of the considerations the master developer, TrueMark, is considering here. There wouldn't be any hazard associated with this decision. It's really just, a preference on the developer. There's a lot of houses that are fully electric these days.
Thank you.
One more question, sorry. Can I finish up? Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead, Chris.
So I'm assuming that there's the builders in the house, the developers in the house.
Dana Gillespie is here from TrueMark Homes. She's one of the project managers.
Okay, so there's some kind of a cost benefit to this, cost savings to the developer. How will that be passed along to the home buyer?
So I would have Dan. I was going to have that.
And then also, there seems to be reports back and forth, especially here in California, given the mandate that we have for the transition from fossil fuel to electric. We don't have enough electric supply right now. These homes come online. It's going to add to an overtaxed grid at the moment. What's the uptick, the relationship that we have with PG&E to increase the supply if required? Have those utilities been considered, and how would that enter into your decision-making process to approve an all-electric home or tract?
So I think the utilities are encouraging, the switch from natural gas appliances to electric heat pumps and that sort of thing for heating. Obviously, there is some transitional issues going on, but it's our understanding from the local electric providers that they could provide for this sort of thing. They are providing financial incentives right now for, HVAC systems to be replaced and converted into heat pumps. So I think they're confident that they can, take care of it, especially, when we're talking about just a handful of houses.
So we come back to if those financial incentives, I'm not aware that PG&E is providing those to the builder or those to the homeowner.
I'm not sure if they would apply here. I just know that as a policy, they are doing that.
Right. So again, I'm curious as to how this would benefit a homeowner.
Okay, and we'll ask the developer on that.
President Gregory?
Yeah, so Warren, my question is kind of along the same lines. First of all, and I guess the developer might be able to answer the question, but will they have enough solar on the house to accommodate their electrical need or demand? And then if PG&E is a concern or the state of California's supply is concerned, are they providing power walls to offset that issue?
So we'll ask the developer. I know that the houses have solar. I don't know about the power wall.
Yeah, I wanted to ask her to come on up, but my questions on this, first off, the Warren, is how many of the number of units in these 3, 11, and 12, how many total units?
I think it's about 200, 250-ish.
Okay, all right. And have we ever granted this to other previous tracts or any kind of development like this where we did not allow?
No.
Yeah.
It's the first time.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Dale, we're going to take more testimony, so why don't you sit down for a minute and we'll get you back up.
Okay, I wouldn't like to speak before you make your decision.
No, I know. We're going to bring you up in a minute, but go ahead, Pro Tem Gregory. Yeah.
So Warren, is 250 a small number?
I think in the scheme of what
you're getting used to
PG&E has to serve, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anything else from council at this point? Okay, if we can.
8 is a very small piece. It's this little tiny square right there.
Okay. If I could we get the developer to come on up and the applicant and all can ask more questions directly? And your name?
Good evening, Dana Gillespie, Project Manager for TrueMark Homes.
Dana,
thank you for having us here tonight.
Welcome. I think council has more questions directly that you could probably answer better. So I think, Chris Balshi, if you want to restate, you were probably one that started first.
So I'm going to just make a leap of faith here that this is being done to save costs, not installing gas lines, not running gas pipe to the house, not installing black pipe to accommodate gas in the homes. Saves considerable amount of money, offset by Mr. Gregory's point of we're going to put the mandated solar on, or we're going to have batteries and power walls for this project. If so, is that an offset for the homeowner? What does this do to impact the cost of the home? Have we done that cost study, and how will that impact future buyers?
Yeah, if I can just provide a little bit of history, I guess. This California Public Utilities Commission has recently enacted a requirement that the utility companies provide all electric, and if we do not comply with that all electric requirement, then they take away incentives to the gas. So we do get penalized in a sense by providing gas to these projects statewide. The cost increase is pretty substantial across those three areas, and I think it's probably about 150 units total off the top of my head. It's approaching $1 million in penalties by providing gas to the projects. So it is a substantial cost that would have to be absorbed by the project. Noting that the EIR and specific plan does allow for an all-electric or encouraging an all-electric appliances, we felt like it was an appropriate ask to be able to eliminate that gas infrastructure. Solar is absolutely provided on these homes. The battery, the power walls are an optional feature, so they're not provided at a base product. Was there another part of your question that I didn't answer?
No, but you make a good point as far as the penalty that's assessed. Can you describe that and how that applies? Is that just for your development, or is that all of the developers?
So if the contracts have been signed with PG&E prior to a certain point, you would not incur those penalties. So for the planning areas that have already come forward and may have contracts signed and paid with PG&E, penalties would not be incurred at that point. But because of where we were in our option to purchase and close on the property, that was not an option made available to us. So the original contract was repriced and became apparent that they were going to assess that penalty because of having gas in the project.
So this becomes a cost saving almost, or at least
a substantial one.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Pro Tem Gregory?
Yeah. So first of all, I like your project, and I
We
wish
like
you
it
well.
too.
I wish you well on the project.
Thank you.
My concern purely is for the customers.
Yeah.
And we've seen power outages and power waves and all kinds of things going on now with PG&E. So are you, I guess one question is your solar oversized or just properly sized to adequately handle the house's electricity?
I understand that it is properly sized and that PG&E has confirmed that they can serve this project specifically and the other planning areas if a gas is eliminated. That has not been presented as a concern with them.
And then so the power wall would be an option.
Correct.
Is that something you'll offer to your customers?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. And I think that answers my question. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Councilmember Strong.
Okay, my concern is a news item that appeared today. Elon Musk is pretty well known for his knowledge ability. And he is claiming that AI is increasing at such a rapid rate that within 3 years, there will be so much demand on electricity nationwide that it will fail nationwide and not be able to come back on until many other things are restored. Are you providing any backup to the electric company and what they provide?
The solar systems.
There's a solar, but do you have any substation or anything of your own with generators or anything like that?
No, nothing specifically designed in that way, but the solar system is designed to backfeed PG&E's infrastructure.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Councilor Beal? Okay. Okay, I'm going to go too, but you guys go ahead, get your stuff. Yeah. Chris Boucher.
So I'm thinking of the optional solar power wall. Would that be like a current, we'll just say like a soft water loop where it's plumbed in? Would this be like, it would be pre-engineered and wired for a battery?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
That. Maybe she might.
So, Warren, this is kind of a question for you and the applicant. I think our power supplier, CC&E, was talking about making like mini, I don't know what you call them, transformers or
Microgrids?
Microgrids. Is that something that would apply to something like this?
I don't believe so. I think microgrid would require a separate kind of generating source to actually function.
That was my question. Thank you.
Okay, let me ask some questions of staff first. Warren, you mentioned something about that kind of struck me. You said they're conditioned, the house is not going to be plumbed. In other words, they're conditioned to bring the gas line to the house currently?
So our standard conditions of approval for residential subdivision tracts is to install all utilities, which is always included natural gas.
Right.
And that's where this is kind of gray, and that's why we're asking for clarification that if they chose not to provide it, that it would be okay. But, you know, that's kind of where we're at. Is you could read the conditions, but it's been our precedent for whatever the last 100 years to put gas into all these projects. So that's what the request is, since they aren't required to install natural gas appliances. We know that, but the question is, if they're not going to install any gas appliances in the house, does it make any sense to still require them to put the natural gas in the street, knowing that it won't be used and it'll have a substantial cost? So that's kind of the decision that's really before you tonight.
Well, okay, you just kind of threw another curveball at me. You said in the street. So when I understand gas condition for a project, that means plumbed to the stove and to the water heater, that kind of a thing. Is that what you're saying, that is still on their units, or is it just in the street?
Well, the tract improvement would be the gas lines in the street. And then if the house receives gas, then there's a lateral that goes between. But the lateral is not really the tract improvement, but normally you put the lateral in to serve the house. So I think, that's kind of where we're at. We're just trying to figure out, do you want the mains in the street, even if they're not going to have any laterals or connections to the houses?
So why would we want to have a main in the street if it's not going to be plumbed into the house?
Well, we don't think we do. That's why we're recommending this.
Well, no, I mean, did we condition a project like that? That they're supposed to put it in the street but not plumb it in the house? Or was it also conditioned to be plumbed into the structure?
So we've never done a residential subdivision tract that's all electric. So we've always, for as far back as you can go, natural gas was put in residential subdivisions and all the houses were connected. That's just the way it was always done. And now the question is, are we to a point where maybe we're not going to always require that?
No. Okay. So that's the question to council, making a policy statement here that we're going to either allow this or not allow it and make it all plumb into the house.
I think the question is, should we allow these developers the choice whether or not to do it?
On this particular question.
On this project, project.
So let me ask a language question, please. So Mr. Hammond's understanding, and so am I, there's still going to be a gas line in the major thoroughfares going through to the other developments.
Yes.
But it sits in the road.
They're already there.
Right. So that's all this developer will do is wave at it, bury it up, and bring the electricity to each of the houses, and no laterals to each of the houses. That's the only difference. So the gas line will be going through the main thoroughfare on the roads.
That's already there, though, Steve. No, that's not what he's saying.
So the gas line, like the backbone, Sherwood Road that you just accepted, there's a gas line that goes through here.
Right.
Normally, all these local streets would have gas lines in them. Right. There won't be any gas lines here, but there will be backbones so all the other tracks can still plumb into gas.
And here,
no, I think, again, what they're asking is not to have to put them within their development at all. And that's my rub. I got to tell you, I want to.
Between area 11 and 12, is there a gas line going on that main
Yes.
arterial?
That's Sherwood Road. So like Area 15, Shea Homes, this is under construction. There's gas to all these houses.
Right.
That's how they do it. So.
Right. And again, I want to make sure, though, that TrueMark is conditioned to plumb their units with gas.
We believe you can kind of read the conditions either way. This is to clarify whether or not they're required to put the natural gas in the tracks or not.
How would that be wishy-washy? I got to say, I think that if we're, going to make a statement that homes in Paso Robles all are going to have natural gas, then they should be plumbed so that the owner of the property can use the gas and not have to tear up a wall and put it in later. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm trying to understand.
But that is the decision tonight.
Yeah, I have a major problem with this. Chris Besh.
It's a really good question, Mayor. I'm torn as a property guy between whether or not to let the consumer make that decision. If it saves money for the consumer, great. If it doesn't save money, if you, as a developer, are penalized $1 million, we'll say, for not doing an all-electric home because of the timing of the project, that's a good reason to consider. Is there a penalty incurred if you, as Mayor Hammond posits, to run the gas to the curb, we'll say, is there a penalty? Not necessarily installing the lines and the infrastructure inside the home, but just getting it to the curb. What's the penalty for that?
That is the penalty, installing the infrastructure and the roads and the in-track development. That's when the penalty is incurred.
And who assesses the penalty?
Whoever the electric provider is. So in this case, PG&E.
And that's legislated, or is that a private decision that PG&E made?
That's the California Public Utilities Commission decision.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Councilman Strong?
No, that's just a comment.
Oh, okay.
We'll wait for
All right. So let's go ahead and hold you off for a minute and bring
Thank you
public
very
comment
much.
in.
Yeah, thank you.
So Dale, I think you were asking to make a comment.
A little history on me. My first job was with Southern California Gas Company for 15 years. I know all about natural gas, but I live in an all-electric home now. Now I can tell you, I went to the safety fair and I talked to the PG&E promotion or public relations guy, and I said, you know what? Natural gas is still the most efficient fuel energy source we have in California. And he agreed, and he added to it, it also is the most abundant. You go overloading these grids, which is happening already, and you're going to have outages. PG&E is saying, oh, it's for the fire protection. They just don't have enough capacity in these grids, and they can't enlarge them any bigger to handle this. So I can tell you, even in the all-electric home I'm in, we're thinking of adding a propane tank just to be available for a gas range and to benefit from the efficient natural gas, which is a non-polluting gas. And the generating plants that they first fueled on fuel oil were converted to natural gas for that reason. And we're shipping natural gas out of the United States to other countries who know just how efficient natural gas is. If we wouldn't have had a change in administration, the first administration of Donald Trump, we were energy independent. And I'd like to see us get back to that. But it's going to take natural gas to do it.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone online?
Yes, sir. Michael Rivera.
Okay, Michael, can you hear us? Go ahead.
Yeah, this is an absolutely stupid idea. If you not allow the people in that development to have the choice of natural gas or electric, electric's okay, whatever. But I think you need to pay very close attention to what Elon's saying, because he understands the nature of what's coming. And this state is on a suicide mission as far as its electric grid goes. And if you force those people out there in that development, and there better be a lot of explanation of those people, what the risks are of them not having the ability to add natural gas or to use natural gas, especially at this time, then I think you're irresponsible, to say the least. This is a bad idea. It's stupid. And because the developer bought into this without understanding the implications of what they were buying into, that's not the people who have to buy these homes are faced with. And if you're setting them up for a potential failure of their electric, of their ability to get power to their home, that's disgraceful. That is disgraceful. And you should never do that, because you're putting them at risk. What if people are depending on power that goes into their home, including natural gas, to power life-saving equipment or whatever? What if they have life-saving equipment that's electrically driven and the power grid goes down, which is a big possibility? You guys are walking down this road, and this is an absolutely stupid idea. So I would highly recommend that you not do this, that you make them give the buyer the option. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
No, sir, not online.
You want to address, come on over here to the podium. Yeah. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Christian Orzano. I'm a domestic worker. I work for in-home health services, or in-home supportive services, pardon me. And I got a call about a couple months ago from the woman who I'm a provider for, and she said, the electricity is out and I'm scared, and can you come over right away? And so she's a 74-year-old woman who is on oxygen. She's in end-stage COPD. So from 9 p.m. to 4 a.m., I was hand-feeding new oxygen tanks because the system that she normally has was not functioning. So it would be negligent, I think, to approve this without having some kind of plan and, as a backup for everybody else. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Anyone else? Okay, we'll go ahead and close public comment, bring it back to council for discussion and or action. So start off with Councilman Strong on my left.
Well, and this is an interesting thing, because I believe in freedom and I believe in property rights. So I've lived in 3 houses that did not have natural gas. I had no gas line at all, but we had gas appliances and we used propane. We just got a propane tank and plumbed it into the house, and we had gas appliances. It wasn't a problem. The other thing is, if this is a choice by the developer, it's right now, those are his properties. It's going to be his project. I would hope that they're going to pass those savings on to the property owner, but I would also hope they are going to provide the solar panels for each house. And if they're going to provide the solar panels for each house, I'd like to hear that from them so that we know that those people have their own independent supply for electricity separate from PG&E when and if it's needed. And I think that is a very important part of this decision right there, because that would be a guarantee all in its own, and still give people 2 choices. They could either go propane, or they could pay the cost, as people outside of our city or who aren't on a line in our city limits, say down on South Vine, have of actually plumbing that line themselves and paying for it all the way to the main.
So Warren, I have a quick question. We're mandated to supply every new home with solar, correct? In the state of California?
Yeah, that's California Building Code requires
That's a
solar
mandate.
on all
Okay.
single-family
And that,
houses.
but that doesn't guarantee that that solar system will operate the house. All that does is feed the grid. And so unless you have like a power wall where it can store and then be used, that's where that can work, Fred. But just because they have solar doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to have electricity if the power's out. Okay.
Well, solar only works when the sun's out. So the idea with the
That too.
battery is that you can charge that with the solar, and then you would have power at night.
And then the battery, so we have solar, we put it in a few years ago, 2 backup batteries, 2 Tesla Powerwalls. It's great for about 3 days when it's raining. We do have 3 days of rain occasionally. With 2 batteries, it goes down to about 30% after 3 days. So it's not, I mean, it's a great idea, but it's a short window.
Short window, exactly right.
So my thoughts on this, I want to support the developer in your risk assessment of the market, and say, okay, we think these homes will sell, but if there are 211 homes, it's $1 million penalty. It's about $4,800 a home, and like it's been observed, 5 years down the road, if the grid fails, and it's like, we made this decision over a $5,000 cost. What were you thinking? I got to really think hard about whether I want to make that responsible, if that's a responsible decision. For $5,000 right now, we can give the homeowner an option.
No, that's not only the 5,000 option. It's also the installation costs of plumbing the house too that they're going to say.
But there's also the fact that they could put the batteries back in that gets charged by those solar panels. So each house has that backup.
Maximum 3 or 4 days.
Well, but that's true, but that's not what the applicant's asking for. They're just asking to have it deleted at this point. So,
Mr. Mayor, I just wanted, it was very helpful for me to hear this entire conversation. At first glance, my concern was to make sure that we had natural gas lines available to the future sort of development. So what do you call it? The backbone roads that have that. And I know that this is new. I know it's a little different. I appreciate staff wanting to get some clarification on this. I think this gives people a choice. I think we have plenty of homes that are plumbed with natural gas. I think having the solar panels are nice. I think just because you have a solar panel doesn't mean you're not, plugged into the grid and have that power available to us. I think we're not doing a policy statement. We're just going to, sort of see what happens with this particular project. We are sort of supportive of the market, and this gives people a choice. So I would be in favor of this.
so just to be clear though, Chris, just because you have solar panels on a roof does not mean that your power is going to be on when the grid goes down. You need to know that.
But Mr. Mayor, I think what she's trying to get across is that the buyer has a choice what home to buy.
True.
If he wants something that is natural gas, he doesn't buy one of their homes.
And flip side of the coin is, I think it's a plus for the buyer to know that they have 2 sources of energy versus only one.
But that's their choice.
Sure.
And I still believe in freedom of choice, both by developers as well as by purchasers.
Understood.
I don't want to make those decisions for them here.
Okay.
So
I think they can make their own decisions.
Fred, we have 211 homes. We have a power outage. They all have really nice solar panels on, and nobody has electricity.
Unless they have a power wall.
Do you know what that's going to create for service for the city? It's a very important fact. My concern primarily is for options for the individual homeowners. Either they get a power wall out of the deal, or they have natural gas to run a generator or something. But just to have electricity only, I think is a concern on my part.
Can I interject just a few items?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
So typically in a home that's dual fuel at this point in time, you'd be getting maybe a gas dryer and potentially maybe a cooktop, but so many people are going to electric glass top and induction range. Yeah, the appliances that are being installed currently in most homes, there's so few are being powered by gas. If you are having a power outage, probably many of the communities that are being built right now, they would also and have that same effect on them. There is a requirement in the EIR that we provide all electric appliances. So that is our intention, with or without the gas infrastructure. It would be to build an all electric home to comply with that requirement that's consistent with the city's climate action plan.
I think it's really important to really make that point. You know, the oxygen for our patient, if the power goes out, we're not plugging that in to get power from a natural gas source.
Correct.
We
Gas
don't
is
have
not gonna
lights.
support
We're
that.
not using natural gas for that source.
Right.
So I think it's important when we talk about this to be very clear about the concerns that we might have and how they play out.
As to market, we do have other all-electric communities that we're building, and I can share that there was concern when we did that the market wouldn't support that product, and we have absolutely not had any issues. Otherwise, we wouldn't be coming here asking for this.
But I think what council, well, at least some of us are concerned about are what happens 5 years down the road, or maybe not even 5 years, if we should have a catastrophic grid failure. Was it responsible to not at least have access, not just along the backbone roads, but the roads in front of the home, at least have gas there? I think there's some kind of a concession sweet spot there. I'm not sure what it is. I don't have that answer. But I share the concerns that by denying the consumer the option, and there is no electricity to power anything, there's no option then to hook up to gas, take out your induction cooktop, put in a gas appliance. We won't know. My crystal ball doesn't go out that far.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah, I kind of, again, my point here too is that we're almost setting a precedent, and there's so many homes that are going to be also asking for the same thing. I worry that, you know, we're going down a road that is probably not the best for the buyer. So before us tonight, basically we have a recommendation authorizing the city manager to execute the Olson South Chandler Specific Plan Development Agreement Operating Memo 2, meaning that there's an adjustment to the development agreement that was previously signed with the developer, correct? And they're asking to have that modified. So our option is to allow this to happen, or I guess just to deny the challenge to the development agreement. So, you know.
I mean, I would like to hear from staff actually, because they're making an affirmative recommendation, I think, for this. So I'd like to maybe hear the case.
So historically, all residential tracts included natural gas, which meant all houses were dual fuel for the most part. Clearly, we have climate action plans. We have EIRs that basically have a lot of policies to reduce greenhouse gases, which are from fossil fuels. So there is a lot of policy direction to move toward all electric. That said, there's been court cases that have said that cities can't require all electric tracks. So we know that. Staff-wise, we originally advised TrueMark that they needed to put natural gas in. They were looking for, you know, relief on that requirement. We went kind of round and round on it. We came to this option that, you know, we could do an operating memo to get clarity on that. We weren't quite sure, you know, policy-wise where the council was on this issue. We think it's a reasonable request in that it's the developer's choice. The developer's done the research. They're confident that it works. It doesn't preclude all the other tracks in Olson from being gas. So that was basically the basis of our recommendation, is there is policies that support all electric. This would just be within this track, and it is the developer asking. It's not a mandate that we're putting forward. So that's why staff is recommending that we support the developer's request. I think it is, to a certain degree, kind of a test to see how it works. Obviously, we'll see in the future, how well these work or don't work.
Yeah, again, through testimony of the developer, though, they are going all electric appliances. But that still means that, per the development agreement, that they have to plumb the house ready for gas.
Mr. Mayor? Yeah. One last thing. We've made a decision like this once before, where we decided we knew more than the business owner. And the business owners just weren't making the right decision. And therefore, we put in paid parking downtown. It's the first time we ever interfered with a private business and its business decision. I don't want to make that same mistake again.
Okay. All right, so we have a lot of discussion. Is there any discussion for action item? Oh.
Question.
Well,
has there been a market?
I'll open up public comment. We've already closed, but go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead, quickly.
Sorry. Has there been a market research? Are people willing to buy all? I mean, what percentage are people willing to buy all electric homes? I, for one, would not buy an all electric one. I want gas.
All right, thank you.
So, I mean, just
thank you,
my
ma'am.
question. That's all.
Dana, go ahead.
We haven't seen a shift in sales at all with an all electric product.
Yeah, obviously you have experience in seeing what the market's bearing right now. So.
I'm not sure that's a realistic determination. There's such a huge shortage of homes. People would buy, anything right now they could get into a house. So I'm not sure that's a good assessment. I mean, I'm sure it's a fine product. I don't mean to, I'm not disparaging anything, but
No, I understand.
if it's a house and it's for sale, it'll get sold.
To Dale's point, not to get into an epic conversation, my dad's a retired SoCal gas meter reader, so I feel you and I hear you totally. But there are a lot of studies that talk about the pollutions that are occurring with natural gas, and we are finding that buyers also are reading those same studies and are definitely leaning that way. As we build more and more efficient homes that are more and more tightly sealed, they're liking the idea of an all-electric home.
But that's basically the way you're designing these to be done anyway.
Well, and if I can clarify maybe with Warren, I don't think there is an actual requirement that requires us to plumb the house to serve gas. There's a requirement that we provide all electric appliances inside, but I don't think there's likewise the same requirement that gas has to be plumbed to the house. Well, internally, and we're talking about the infrastructure tonight.
And maybe we're not able to make a decision tonight. I think there's the compromise is and I don't know if the developer pays for it or the gas company puts it in, the flexible line that comes off of the backbone into the tract. That's what I would like to see, at least mandated to have it there so the streets aren't torn up again down the road if we lose electricity completely. And I know that's kind of far-reaching, catastrophic thinking, but it's possible. And if we're out of electricity for months at a time, people are going to get desperate and they are going to want to put gas in. Is propane a better option? Perhaps. But if we had a gas line in the street, would that be an option? I think at least having it to the curb makes an awful lot of sense.
So that is, again, another item that's bothered me a lot, Warren. I can't believe we wouldn't condition a project to be plumbed into the house. I mean, you're reading it both ways. I'm not sure what that means, but yeah.
I have a question, Warren. They can do an all-electric house and still plumb a gas line to the house, as far as it's written right now, correct?
That's the way I read this
the development
agreement.
So we believe that the standard requirement is to install the utilities in the street, which would be the gas line. To serve a house, you need a lateral off that then plumbs into the house.
Right.
So that lateral into the house, I don't think that is required. I think it's just the line down the center of the street is the track improvement. Now, typically, if you did that, then it's always been plumbed to the house, so it's never really been an issue. But this is where, we don't have a policy on this. We've never done this before, so we don't really have the specifics. That's kind of why we're here asking the question is, in the future, we probably do need to have a very detailed policy and standard for this. We don't today, and that's what we're trying to figure out tonight.
And I'd like to say we appreciate you giving us that question and offering it both ways to us. So. Okay.
I don't know. Direction?
So, City Attorney, can we just table this and have them come back with more information if we're not happy with that?
More information for what?
Well,
so yes, you can make a motion to continue this either to a date certain or just request information, then staff will return with that when you have it.
Yeah, Chris?
Yeah, Mayor, I was going to suggest, that's probably a third alternative here tonight if you're wanting if there are council members that are wanting some additional information, on further clarification on what is in the development agreement, additional clarification there, more research done there, we're happy to do that. If there's additional information on what's happening around the state, more information on the regulations that were discussed tonight as it relates to the CPUC, we're happy to package that information and bring that back. I would defer to the developer in terms of timelines on the specific project, but we can expedite that work and get it back to you in a timely manner.
Okay. Can we go ahead and, if that's the pleasure, can we make a motion to continue?
Well, he's moving and I'll second. Can we have that as a discussion item when it comes back?
Noted.
It won't be consent. Yeah. Okay, so motion by Bausch, second by Gregory. Any discussion? Call for the question.
Councilmember Bausch?
Aye.
Councilmember Gregory?
Aye.
Councilmember Beal?
Aye.
Councilmember Strong?
Aye.
Mayor Hammond?
Aye.
Motion passes
Thank you, Dan.
unanimously.
Thank you for your time. We'll see you soon.
Okay, so that then concludes our consent, which we do not have any discussion items. We're on to city manager report. Mr. Huak.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, 4 items this evening. I mentioned it earlier, but if you're out on Creston Road, phase 1, that work is well underway. The paving side of it, we've been waiting a long time to hit this phase. We've had a lot of underground utility work, a lot of work ancillary to paving, and I know the public has been asking, when's the paving happening? And it's happening right now. So over the next several weeks, I just, hopefully there's patience and driving members of the public as you're up and down Creston Road, because the main line is going to start, I believe, tomorrow, being paved. We're doing this now to get ahead, of course, of the school year starting. We're trying to get ahead of that start date, and we will be done before that happens with the paving. We're also starting the downtown parking lot projects this week. You'll see some work, I think, happening over at the Riverside lot. We're doing notifications about closure, but I think towards the end of this week, you're actually going to see staff or contractors being mobilized. And then a little bit of breaking news. We found out yesterday that the House Appropriations Committee that oversees it's called the Transportation and Housing and Urban Development Appropriations Bill, moved forward a request from the city of Paso Robles to provide about $850,000 towards a future affordable housing project on Pine and 23rd. This is a project we've been working with the Housing Authority on for several years now. Being able to potentially purchase some vacant property and redevelopment for families and individuals that meets certain low-income thresholds. So this is a very significant step in the process. It still has to go through the whole federal appropriations process, which won't be done until later this year at the earliest. But having it included in the legislation at this point is a very significant step. And so that's some good news, and we'll keep you updated as everything moves forward. That concludes my comments this evening. Thank you.
Can I
Question?
Yeah, question, Chris.
Yeah, Councilman, go ahead.
Yes, I'm wondering, does that include, Preston Road, does that include the Rolling Hills roundabout?
That's a good question. So phase one right now includes the road reconstruction and work from South River, essentially to Orchard, I believe. I'm looking for Freed over there. Yes. Phase two will include the roundabout at Rolling Hill. That work is anticipated to start early next year. I know that we're going to be bringing you a capital projects update here in the next couple meetings. That's really going to give you kind of the broader picture of what phase two looks like. So more to come. That's not part of the work being done right now, but it's coming right behind phase one.
So, yeah, Chris, I had a question about the funding coming from the federal government. Is that a specific project? Is that the Macias project?
Yeah, so that project that money would be used for, we're working on a bridge project down there at 24th. Yeah, so there's some remnant property, and I won't bore you with the long story, but essentially we tried to find opportunities to reutilize that parcel. It's vacant, it's underutilized, there's not much that can be done with it. And so yes, this money would go towards facilitating that project.
That's perfect, thank you.
Anything further, Council?
So good.
Okay. Right, thank you, Chris. Council Member Teal, would you like to start? Yeah.
I have been going to all of my regular meetings. I always learn a lot, but also during this period, I had some individual meetings. I met with Christina with the SLO Chamber to discuss the family-friendly workplace partnership and the stuff with First Five, and I thought I'd just bring that up, given our conversations around childcare and our economic development strategic plan. I also met with Wendy Lewis at ECHO, and just as a little heads up, their wait list at ECHO is 300. So I also met with Floyd Butterfield. I crossed paths with him. He had a group that did a great volunteer project at Uptown Park and the Centennial Trail, and I bought him a cup of coffee, and we had a great conversation, and he gave me all the background history on the food bank and ECHO, and as a little FYI, food bank delivered food to 900 people at Oak Park in 1 week. Upcoming, we have the County Homelessness Committee, HSOC, tomorrow. Riverwalk Terrace, the ribbon cutting is Friday at 1:30. We have 500 on the waiting list at that senior affordable housing project. On Friday, also, I'll be attending the Central Coast Trades meeting at the fair. And I appreciate this conversation. They're going to be talking about the importance of increasing head of household jobs through local hire agreements and expanding construction trades and apprenticeships in the county. I think this head of household job is very important. We've spent a lot of time talking about affordable housing and kind of the supply of affordable housing, but affordability also includes incomes. And so I would like this, this group, and as we're moving into kind of visioning and planning, that we talk about kind of head of household jobs also. So with that, thank you very much for letting me be of service.
Thank you, Chris. Councilman Strong.
Yes, thank you. And I had an executive committee meeting for LOSAN, the Pacific Surfliner. And at that meeting, one of the things we were doing was we're providing an opportunity for Santa Barbara to have some commuter service down to Moore Park, provided actually by Metrolink rather than us, but only on a temporary basis, so that we can reserve that particular space for our future intention to extend the line all the way from San Diego back up into San Luis Obispo County. And that particular line is just waiting on the delivery of a train engine and a couple of cars that are on back order. So we're waiting for those to get manufactured so that they can be delivered to us. We've already got the money for it. We just don't have the product. And so that's about what's happening there. I will be attending that board meeting next Monday, and that's when the full board will make the decision on whether or not to agree with the executive committee on proceeding along that line. Other than that, I've got an executive committee meeting tomorrow for SlowCog. And there we will be discussing the agenda for SlowCog, which is coming up in another week. And we'll see what happens on that. Okay, thank you.
Brett. Councilman Belch.
Thank you. I'll be joining Councilmember Beal at the fair on Friday with the jobs report. So on Friday, June 27th, I was in court for case 25 CVP 0080 regarding the Slow Tribune 702 Public Records Act requests, which have now been fulfilled as of May 16th. On July 1st, I met with my attorney to discuss the over 2,000 emails that I submitted in response to the Slow Tribune's public record request versus the less than 50 emails submitted by the rest of the city council combined, and the absence of any emails turned in by former council member Sharon Roden. On Thursday, July 10th, met with the Library Board of Trustees. Congratulations to Trustee Raymond Hardy for being re-elected to serve as our board chair, and to recently appointed Marilyn Detner for being elected to serve as vice chair. Mr. Hardy will also continue to serve as the liaison to the Friends of the Library, and Ms. Detner will serve as liaison to the Paso Robles Library Foundation. Goals for the 25-26 years were also discussed. On Monday, July 14th, met with Senior Citizen Advisory Committee along with Council Member Gregory. Congratulations to committee member Mr. Dan Rodriguez for being re-elected to serve as committee chair, and to Ms. Prudence Zaleski for being elected to serve as vice chair. Again, goals for the 25-26 years were discussed. Also on Monday, met with the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. Congratulations and thank you to long-serving committee member Mr. Rich Clayton for being elected to serve as committee chair, and to Ms. Diane Zanotti for being elected to serve as vice chair. And again, this is the beginning of our fiscal year, so goals were for 25-26 were discussed. That's my report.
Okay, Tim Gregory.
Yes, I'm going to play cleanup. I went to the grand opening of the transitional housing with Councilwoman Beal, which is a really nice event, supported strongly or wholeheartedly by Noreen Martin and her husband, her past husband. Anyway, it was a really nice event, and talk about affordable housing and needed housing. It's a wonderful project. And now they've combined everything to Lumina, I guess, is all one organization countywide. And they do an incredible job to protect our single women with children and help them get back to their lives. Went to the ECHO community meeting, and we had one of our members of ECHO move on. He got hired into Idaho, of all places, for doing the homeless effort up there. And Austin discussed his time a little bit, and he said that the rules and regulations for housing are much easier in Idaho. So that's why he took the job, because he was able to accommodate housing more easily for their clients. I thought that was an interesting comment. I went to the Sabre event for Travel Paso in San Jose, and I didn't drink only one glass of wine, but mostly water. And my wife watched me the whole time. But I just want to thank Travel Paso for that event, because it was a really nice event where we had 550 people attend the event, to see 40 of our local wineries that were there and some of the hoteliers. And it was really nice because a lot of the people there have not been to Paso Robles, and it's a small niche market, but it's really important for us to be reaching out and doing that. I also attended two meetings with Travel Paso in the last 2 meetings. And this last meeting, the hotel business is down a little bit, so they're trying to do everything they can to promote Paso Robles. And the amount of advertising that they're putting into Paso Robles and getting people to come here is amazing and very articulate and very powerful. Also in that meeting today, we had a presentation from the Wine Alliance. And the Wine Alliance had their wine festival, and they had 3,365 tickets sold at that event. And it's becoming a major event for our community. It always has been a major event, but that really does help our community have tourists come and enjoy our wonderful town. Let's see. I went to the senior advisory meeting with Mr. Bausch. One item there that was brought up that I thought was very interesting. July 30th, they stop, or no, maybe August 30th. The Social Security Administration will no longer issue checks to anybody. And so the statistics, paper checks. So the statistics show out of everybody on Social Security, there's only 499,000 people that get paper checks, which I thought was rather low, but there's no way for these, we're talking about an outreach program or something to let the seniors know that are receiving checks what to do in their situation if they don't get a check anymore. And really, it's the bank's responsibility, but the senior advisory group wants to try to get information out to help that. And I had a nice surprise visit to the NCI facility with our Mayor Hammond, and it all started when one of the clients from NCI was development disabled adults are working, and she was standing in the library and she goes, "Mr. Gregory, I've never met a mayor in my life." And I said, "Would you like to meet the mayor?" She goes, "Yes." I said, so I called up John and he agreed to go. So we spoke to 40 people and talked all about firefighting and everything. We're going to try to get an inspection or a tour for those folks to come see everything, but they're very excited. And it's just really nice to reach out to our community and see those projects ongoing. And I'd like to make mention of the community of Templeton and the horrible fire we've had there. There's been some pretty nice people, including our own fire department, that are helping out in that situation. Thank you, Chief Sternetta, for sending everybody there. It's a horrible situation. I hope that they catch the people who did it. I have another very dear friend over there, and he's doing all of the demolition as a friend to the owners. So they had a great loss, but they've asked for just continued community support. And I hope they get back on their feet and get that cleaned up soon. And my last comment of the night is, Frida, thank you. We gave you less money. You gave us more bang for our buck and getting all those contributions. Thank you again. You and your staff are wonderful. And all of our staff is wonderful. And that's all I have for the night. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
And Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that both Chris and I did attend the Housing Authority meeting. And there wasn't anything that happened there that we haven't already heard about. So I won't have to say anything more about that. And I was also at the Library Foundation meeting with Chris Marsh.
Yeah. Good. Okay, what I had, quite a few things. It was starting off with APCD and normal monthly meeting, and we actually made it a milestone with our executive director after 35 years. Gary Willie retired, and we'll be moving on with our new executive director coming on board. Juneteenth at the park, we went to that, and along with Chris Beal. And we also had our county mayor's meeting, which we hosted here in Paso Robles, out at the airport. And funny enough, we had an emergency where an airplane landed on the runway with no wheels at the time, just before that actually, but no damage to anyone there. So, we also attended Councilman Gregory and our wives, along with Sharon Roden and his wife, that for the Atascadero Kiwanis Winemakers annual fundraiser. Very fun event. It was designed as a mayor between Atascadero and Paso Robles that put this on, but it's basically the Kiwanis that fundraise for this particular year. It was no, it was a group that funds kids on learning how to grow things. I forget the actual name of the group, but they actually work for all the schools in the county.
Oh, that's right, for the farm.
Yeah.
Farms.
Yes.
One
Coolworth, I think it was. Yeah.
And they raised $120,000 one night.
That was really amazing and really impressive for that group. Year before that, though, they actually sponsored ECHO and did almost the same. So we also went to a memorial for our fire chief Adams and one of our firefighters, Dan Lemons. It was a great memorial to see a lot of our old volunteer fire together. Also went to Congressman Panetta's town hall meeting. He held it here, and it was pretty well attended. And Councilman Gregory and myself visited that. We also, of course, had a great time with the NCI. That was very appreciative. That was so cool to see those kids and those men and women that we're very impressed with, having elected officials come and talk to them. I think that was kind of fun. Plus, we actually saw an item that we can help them with on Fontana Street there with some trip and fall kind of a thing that we're going to try and fix. Let's see, what else was that? Okay, that's what I did, but there's also, again, another gratitude to staff, and it's particularly, with Frida Berman and on the 4th of July, sponsors that came, and also staff gave us, sponsors area that worked very hard with a great barbecue, and that was really impressive as well. So thank you guys again for all that. The other thing I want to bring up to the council for understanding, maybe direction to see if we want to move this forward, speaking directly to Mr. and Mrs. Ludwig's donation of the van, that $73,000 donation. Chris Huot and I were talking about that other cities have developed, like our rec foundation, there's a city foundation that people, if they want to donate things to, can actually donate to the foundation and get some sort of a tax deduction for. We don't have anything like that. And so Chris and I were talking about, and he thought maybe it might be something we might want to look into if the rest of us want to explore that and bring it to an item to talk about in the future. So Chris, looks like you got some nods on that, so that'll work. The other thing I have is last October we designed our meeting schedule, and I thought that we had, I'm talking now of the Labor Day, September 1st, and then the meeting right after that, next day, September 2nd. We were calendared to have that. I thought we had basically made our meetings dark that week, but as we look at it again, the actual meeting was moved to that Thursday, the 4th. And so we do have a meeting scheduled for that week. However, I'm going to be gone. Councilman Gregory's going to be gone. I'm not sure who else is going to be gone. So I'm asking council at this point if, and again, based on workload and anything we have to do, if it looks like we can push that meeting, want to have some sort of an agreement here with the council that we go ahead and make that week dark, just as long as we get the work done on another meeting. Would that be something we can work on, Chris?
Yeah, if there's concurrence amongst the council, we can I think we typically bring an item back, and I'm looking at the city clerk, but we typically bring an item back to notify the public that we would formally cancel that meeting.
Yeah.
So if that's the direction this evening, we can certainly agendize that for your August 5th meeting.
Okay, we can talk about that. Okay, thank you. And in closing, I would like to adjourn the meeting in the thought of Gary Peruzzi. And, Gary, I knew when I first came to the city, actually back when I was in planning commission days, Gary worked for me. He's one of the first people I met, and it's a great loss. Gary worked for the city for 27 years, from 1978 to 2005. And he ran events for the rec department, did the Heritage Oaks Fun Run, if we all remember that, the car shows, parades. And he actually was involved in Rec Foundation. I believe he actually was instrumental in launching the Rec Foundation for the city, along with Barbara Partridge. Working on development and opening Barney Schwartz Park was huge at the time. He also ran all the Kite Fest, touching truck shows and fishing derbies and all these different things that the rec department does now. I mean, it was amazing that what he did. Always did it with a smile on his face. Was always willing to lend a hand and was always there to have an awesome day, is what he would always say. So if it's good with the council, I'd like to adjourn this meeting in the name of...
Second.
Just you sparked a memory. Just like to thank Rec Foundation for the dedication of the bench in Mayor Martin's honor.
Yeah,
just recognize that.
That was the other thing we did the other day. We had a bench seat, which we do in the park, donated by the Rec Foundation in the name of our late Mayor Martin. And his wife was there, very touching. It's kind of a private affair that we all went over there too, but it was great. And again, something that I miss Steve Martin every day. But at any rate, I'd like to do that as well, that we go ahead and adjourn this meeting in the name of Gary Prusy and in the name of Mayor Mark.
So moved.
So moved, and we have a second? Second. Okay, we stand for a motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We stand adjourned.